Hi, my name is Kellie Le Cou, and this is the final speech for COM 103, the persuasive speech. And unfortunately today I was not able to secure an audience, so it'll just be me. But nonetheless, I'm happy to speak with you. So today I'm going to kind of start with a experience I had. The other day I was on a social media site, and I noticed a statement someone posted, and at the end of it said SMH. And I had to ask somebody what that meant, because I'm not really quite familiar with the shorthand versions that go along with texting. So I found out it meant shaking my head, of all things. So although I'm a member of the generation that thrives on texting, I've often found it hard to understand a lot of the shorthands and acronyms and little lingos that go along with the texting generation. I do remember a time where texting and cell phones were not part of mainstream society. I know a lot of youth today cannot say that. They don't remember that time. It's always been in their life, and it always will be. This made me ask myself, has the efficiency of technology and the ease of technology and communication kind of hindered what we call the art of communication? So texting provides an instant way of communication and feedback, which is great. I know I've been at the grocery store and I've gotten a text to add milk to the grocery list, or I've texted a girlfriend of mine to go and get lunch with me. It's instant, it's rewarding, and I understand why texting is so popular. Nonetheless, texting has efficiently and effectively eliminated the personal, face-to-face element of communication. And it's replaced with abbreviated slang, acronyms, and even emoticons, which are those little faces that have different emotions type things. While it's convenient and able to render lightning-fast responses, it's subtly and silently eroding the art of communication that we once knew. So today I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why text messages are killing our communication, especially when it comes to our youth, because they have really known nothing other than texting and cell phones and things like that. I remember when payphones were the way that we communicated with our parents to tell them, hey, you know, we got home safe, or to our friend's house safe, things like that, but no longer do we need payphones. So today we'll talk about how texting reduces the need for in-depth conversation and ultimately face-to-face conversation. Texting also dumbs down speaking, to put it kind of in that manner, and also how our grammar is. It kind of dumbs down our grammar. Texting also distracts us from being in the moment, being with people and being able to communicate with them in the moment right there. So a little bit of statistics. According to the new report by the Pew International and American Life Project, texting ranks as the #1 mode of communication among youth, as opposed to social media sites, voice calling, and also obviously face-to-face communication. About 77% of teens own a cell phone, and 1 in 4 own a smartphone, which is the specific type of cell phone. And most are texting. About 75% say that they text every single day. Less than half of these surveyed, about 35%, say that they have face-to-face interaction with their friends outside of texting and outside of school. Which means that the ability to carry on a personal conversation in person and a deeper level of communicating, not just a fast, quick text or things like that, has kind of been lost on this generation. So impersonal text messages have kind of replaced that face-to-face communication that you have with one another. And it's become socially acceptable to do this as well. So 35% of people, youth, do not talk to people outside of school, outside of cell phones, so that's kind of scary. Text messages also diminish the importance of body language. I know we learned in our class that body language is often more important than the words that we speak. So text messages, you don't really get that that interaction with people. So body language can tell you a lot about what's going on and what the message is that they're saying. But text messages lack that. There's, other than video chat, but that's another form of face-to-face conversation. I know I've had many instances while texting that I can't tell if the person's sarcastic, if they're angry, they're mad. They may say, you know, just a simple word, well, and I could take that many ways. They could be sarcastic, they could be angry, things like that. That's where body language would really play into that and add to the conversation rather than detract from it. So in other words, texting invites ambiguity into the messages, so they're not as clear as they could be if they were face-to-face with somebody. Ultimately, text messaging allows us, youth especially, to avoid situations that would usually be handled face-to-face. And I've noticed that things that would normally warrant a face-to-face conversation, people, when they text, may feel that it's possible to say things more through texting rather than face-to-face. If they were face-to-face, they wouldn't say them. So this could be a positive or a negative. I've seen it more as a negative. Oftentimes, this kind of goes hand in hand with bullying. People feel that they can say more things through a text, and it's quick, and they don't have to see the emotion that comes along with that person and what they've just said to them. So furthermore, texting leads to deficiencies in basic language skills. Shortcuts in spelling, punctuation, grammar, and emoticons, again, do not help this. They're just a face. They don't actually have any grammar or language in them. And they don't help children and teenagers develop the necessary skills for, you know, the workplace, for college, things that, you know, have been developed usually, but text messaging just kind of lets those things go on the back burner. You can't really text your way through a job or college, for that matter. Things like the word through, a lot of people are spelling it T-R-U, and they're using it the wrong way. Things like that are used in text messages. They're shorthand, they're easy to type, and that's kind of making its way into our grammar and when we have, you know, papers and essays and things like that. Another example is TTYL, talk to you later. This is working our way into our speaking. We can just say TTYL to our friends instead of actually communicating and looking at them and saying, I'll talk to you later. It was good to see you, type things like that. I actually have an example of this. If you can see, this is a text message copy from a mom to her child. It says, what does IDK, LY, and TTYL mean? And the son or daughter responded, I don't know, love you, talk to you later. Okay, well, I will ask your sister, the mom says. So obviously, this kind of highlights how the changes in communication through text messaging has been created even just within one generation. So one generation, there's already a difference in language that is greatly different. This also shows the extent to which texting has dumbed down our communication. Just a few letters, 3 or 4 letters, can say a whole sentence. So, or replace the whole sentence, actually. So much that you can't really understand what's going on. It's kind of created a different language all within itself of just these singular letters that are supposed to mean a whole sentence. So, that is kind of highlighting. And it's funny, too. I see a lot of these on the internet. They're pretty funny how texting, you know, your mom has just become such a funny thing because it's such almost a language barrier, you could almost say. Texting is its own language. So unfortunately, although texting allows for instant communication, fast responses, which is convenient, texting does not prepare the youth for workforce, again, and it's not appropriate for communication in these arenas. So this begs the question, are these convenient shortcuts, acronyms, abbreviations, emoticons, things like that, giving way to a generation of lazy, almost sloppy communicators? It's kind of a big question I've had. So earlier this year, the industry association that represents wireless communication, or CTIA, reported that more than 184 billion text messages are sent per month in the U.S. That's a lot of messages. These messages interrupt our brain function and our attention. Texting pulls our focus away from people, from the experience that we're having in the moment, and it deprives us of being completely aware and present in our own lives. apologize for that. So this kind of made me think of an example. You know, you go out to dinner a lot and you see couples or a whole group of people at a table, and they're all on their cell phones texting, or, you know, mostly texting usually. That's what I'm doing. And it just kind of shows that texting doesn't allow for the basic human interaction that we're so used to when we grew up as kids having. And it distracts us from our daily interaction with others. So you don't really develop that face-to-face, deeper communication with others. So in conclusion, there's no doubt that cell phones and texting are here to stay. They are part of our culture, our society. They have their benefits. Obviously, it's fast communication, instant, convenient. You can share photos with texting. You know, your mom can check up on you, make sure that you got home safe, or to your friend's house safe. However, it's becoming more and more apparent that texting is reducing the need for face-to-face conversation, for deep-level conversations, the ability to communicate through grammar and writing skills, and the ability to be present in the moment. With the ever-evolving face of technology, who knows in the future if we're even going to be speaking, if we're just going to be texting through, you know, cyberspace and all that. So thank you for listening. This is my last speech. It's been a pleasure, and thank you.